Guess who's back? What is up, everyone? Hey, welcome back to the daily cyber threat brief here on Simply Cyber. My name is Tyler Ramsby. I am not Jerry Auger, but I'm excited to have you joining me. For those of you who don't know who I am a pen tester by day, content creator, teacher, instructor, sometimes rapper by night. But this is my fourth day in a row of being with all of you. So hopefully you're doing well. I still I cannot get used to these early morning guys. Like for me, it is 7 in the morning, which doesn't seem that early, but usually I stream late at night, like till midnight or later. And so adjusting my schedule to wake up at like a little bit after 6 to get everything ready, I'm still half here, half awake. But what I've learned is if you fake that you have energy, within about 20 minutes, you will have energy. So I'm faking it right now, but super excited to have all of you joining me. Let me get chat pulled up. Let's get the chat overlay turned on. I do want to say, if this is one of your first times here, make sure you drop a hashtag first timer in chat. I would love to welcome you to the party. But in today's show, if you're brand new here, this is where we shred the top cyber news. We go through the top headlines. This is with no prep. I'm giving you my initial reaction, my first thoughts on this. This is like if we were standing at the water cooler, or in my case, I work from my basement. So if you somehow made it into my basement and we were chatting and we were talking about the top cyber news after I asked you, why the heck are you in my basement? These are the things that we would talk about. But hey, before we tread the top cyber news, we do have to give you a word from our sponsor. So this is actually going to be a video from Jerry. But here's the thing, guys. This video is a few minutes long, so you have time to do a few things. Number one, click the links. In the description of this video, you can find links to every one of our sponsors. Each one of these sponsors has been fully pre-vetted by the Simply Cyber team and the Simply Cyber community, and they are amazing. They are the ones who make this daily show possible. So, hey, if you can do me a favor, as we are doing this ad read, click all the links. Click all the links. I know like you're not supposed to click links to avoid phishing, but click all the links during this ad read to show some love and support to our sponsors and to show them like, yes, when you partner with Simply Cyber, it really is worth it because we have an amazing community that will support you if you support Simply Cyber. So let's get this ad read going, and then we will dive into the top cyber news. Before I do the ad read, though, I should have said this in the beginning. Today is June 26, 2025, and this is episode 907 of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. If you say hello in chat and take a screenshot, it is worth a half CPE, so make sure you do that. Now, that being said, let's dive into these ad reads, and then we will continue with the rest of the show.
Guys, I want to say shout out and thanks to the stream sponsors, those who enable me to bring this show to you every single day, starting with my friends Barricade Cyber and their Fortify 365 solution. Is your Microsoft 365 environment secure? Well, with business email compromise attacks on the rise, your entire operation could be at risk. Fortify 365 from Barricade Cyber Solutions is your defensive shield. Their team of experts implements proven security standards to protect your business from cyber threats, ensure compliance, and safeguard your sensitive data. They've helped countless organizations strengthen their M365 defenses with tailored solutions that address real-world vulnerabilities. Don't wait until after a breach to take action. Visit Fortify365.com today to learn how they can secure your Microsoft 365 environment against tomorrow's threats today. I also want to say shout out to Antisyphon Training. Guys, Antisyphon Training is disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by offering high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. Their team of industry professionals assemble some of the best curriculum and course delivery you're going to see this side of the Mason-Dixon line, this side of the Mississippi, this side of the Rockies, this side of the Atlantic, this side of the Pacific. You choose your own graphical boundary, and they're the best on one side for sure. And the jury's out if they're not the best on both sides. Holler. I own an online academy, and I'm telling you, like, they are amazing. They're so good. It's all about supporting each other, not about competitiveness like that. Just know they've got tons going on. Go to antisyphontraining.com, click on the course catalog, and you can see they have their upcoming course schedules. They've got courses in June, July, August, red, blue, whatever it is you want. They've got action going. All right, so go to antisyphontrading.com. Remember, links in the description for all of these are below. Let's hear quickly from Threat Locker. I'll be chatting with you in chatty chat. Bodie McBoatface. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, Threat Locker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with Threat Locker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust Threat Locker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. Threat Locker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how Threat Locker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com. All right, thank you very much. Just really quick, want to remind you also about Flare Academy. Now, I love Flare.io, the website, which is the landing page for Flare's cyber threat intelligence capability. But did you know that Flare has an academy side with training, tons of free, basically instructor-led webinars, for lack of a better term. But they're, a couple times a month, high value. As an example, on June 23rd, Jason Haddix is giving a talk, the Jason Haddix, bug bounty hacker methodology, CISO, CEO, trainer. The dude's awesome. He's right here. And as an example of what Flare Academy offers, you can learn operationalizing cybercrime data for red team and offensive ops, 2 hours. And the best part is, right after the webinar is over, you can go on Flare Academy's Discord and talk directly with Jason in this instance, or whoever the instructor is. So use the link below. It's simplycyber.io/Flare. It will take you directly to the upcoming talks they have. This is gold. Don't miss on it. Don't sleep on it. It's totally free. You can just register and go check it out. It's awesome. All about good times.
Amazing. Hey, make sure you show some love and support to those sponsors. I have one more sponsor that I'm going to say Jerry forgot about. But guys, if you are not a student in Simply Cyber Academy, I strongly recommend you check it out. Simply Cyber Academy has some amazing courses covering the GRC side of things, but I'm in the process of adding and really making full red team paths in the Simply Cyber Academy. So let me real quickly drop a link to the Academy in chat. And I'm going to go ahead and show that link so it pops up. And I'll just show this to you guys real quick before we dive into the news. So this is Simply Cyber Academy. If you go over to all products, I just want to give you a snapshot of everything that is here. So we have a bunch of GRC courses, free stuff, paid stuff. And if you want to get into pen testing, I have 2 courses right here I created: Introduction to Hacking Methodology and Intro to AWS Pen Testing. Both are very beginner friendly. And my 3rd course, Hands-on Phishing, releases July 8th. And I'm giving away a voucher for the OSCP, courtesy of OffSec, for anyone who enrolls in the first 4 weeks. So if you are not a student on Simply Cyber Academy, I strongly suggest you check it out. All right, all that being said, we are now ready to shred our top cyber news. I have one more housekeeping thing to do. Justin said over in mod chat, the ad roll is going to finish and Tyler's going to be asleep at his desk. Not quite, but that would be hilarious. Magnificent R, I saw that over in chat during the ad read. Did #first timer. Welcome to the party, pal. You said, what is this? What did you stumble across? This is the daily cyber threat briefing by Simply Cyber. We go through all of the top cyber news just to get you ready for the day. So you have things to talk about at the water cooler. You have things to talk about if you have an interview coming up, to show that you stay up to date with the top cyber news. So it is so good to have you here. Jerry has sound clips. Usually he's the host. I am guest hosting this week, but the sound clip is, welcome to the party, pal. I just don't have the sound clip. So I am the sound clip. Now, that being said, we are ready to shred the top cyber news. Let me get all of this pulled up real quick and we will dive into it. We're starting with a London ambulance. They're coming to get me because I'm half asleep. Actually, no, this is like a sad story. Oh, crazy. All right, let me start this. We'll go through it together.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Thursday, June 26, 2025. I'm Lauren Verno. NHS confirms patient death linked to ransomware attack. The June 2024 cyber attacks on London hospitals cause more than just a data breach. Britain's National Health Service now says a patient's death was directly linked to the incident. NHS explains the attack impacted the amount of time it took hospitals to perform critical blood tests. The resulting delays were identified as one of the contributing factors in the patient's death. The hackers also compromised data belonging to over 900,000 patients, including sensitive medical details that still haven't fully been disclosed. A year later, the NHS is still dealing with the fallout, including dangerously low blood supplies that continue to impact care.
Wow. That's crazy. It's sad, it's frustrating on multiple levels. I mean, this just shows that ransomware attacks have real consequences for the real world. We've mentioned this a few times. I think, was that 2 days ago? I've done so many of these streams now in a row that they all just kind of blend together in my mind. It didn't, I mean, the headline makes it sound like a ransomware attack killed someone. It contributed based on the things and outages that were at the hospital, but it's still super incredibly sad. I mean, that patient was someone's dad, someone's mom, someone's brother, someone's sister, and they suffered physical consequences as a result of a cyber attack. A big part of that, I think, puts into perspective that when we talk about cybersecurity and ransomware and cyber attacks, this is more than just, hey, someone's data is being stolen. When critical infrastructure is targeted, such as a hospital, this is very real world consequences. So a few takeaways from the story. Number one, if you are a threat actor, stop threat acting. It's not cool. There are ways you can make money in cyber without ruining people's lives and quite literally taking people's lives. So stop threat acting. It is not worth it. So that's the takeaway if you are a threat actor, which I highly doubt any of you are threat actors. But the second takeaway is we really need to take cybersecurity seriously. Now, I fully recognize I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are taking time out of your day to watch an hour-long show about the top cyber news, so you recognize this. But maybe this is a story that you can bring up if you work in healthcare or critical infrastructure to your boss or your CISO and say, look, I know that we've struggled to have a cybersecurity spending budget, but here is why it matters. When ransomware attacks happen, not if, but when. It's only a matter of time until you suffer a breach. When a ransomware attack happens, it is not going to go well for us. We need to make sure we have systems in place to defend against these, not only to be reactive, but to be proactive. Maybe we need to investigate in threat hunting. Maybe we need to investigate in doing regular penetration testing from a legit company. It might be a little more expensive, but instead of running a Nessus scan and calling a pen test, maybe we need to hire a real pen tester who knows what they're doing, give them access to our environment in an assumed breach scenario and see what can they gain access to and what barriers can we put in place to make it even more difficult for a threat actor to cause this level of damage. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me remove that. Thank you, Poner Joe. I always highlight chats and then I forget to remove the chats. But if we scroll through here, the other thing that's crazy to me, it says this, making sure you guys can see it on the screen. A year on from the breach, the affected patients still have not been informed about what data of theirs is exposed in the incident. That is insane. And it says an analysis of the data by data breach specialist case matrix identified personal name, dates of birth, NH numbers, and in some cases, personal contact details, alongside the pathology and histology forms used to share patient details between medical departments and institution. And it also says it is believed more than 900,000 individuals were impacted by the ransomware group's extortion tactics, which involved publishing test results. This is insane. Wow. So they were like, hey, if you don't pay us, if you don't pay up, we're going to make life difficult, not just for the organization, but for the individual innocent people who are suffering as a result of this data breach. So they said they published test results revealing the names of patients with symptoms of sexually transmitted infections and cancer. I don't even have words for that. Like, there are times when threat actors feel like they're Robin Hood, that they're going after these big organizations that take money from the bad guy and give it to the poor. There is no justification for this. This is pure greed, pure evil. This is nothing to laugh about. This is no like, hey, we are just the good hackers in black hoodies in our basement. No, whatever ransomware group did this, the people behind it are terrible, terrible human beings for having this be your extortion tactic. Not only for targeting a hospital, but using this for extortion to try to get money out of it. All around terrible situation. And then the healthcare provider as well. I don't know how they were storing the data, but from what I can see, the healthcare provider, the hospital, clearly did a terrible job storing this data. I mean, it must have been stored in clear text somewhere in the systems for the threat actors to grab down that data, to download it. Also, if they downloaded data of 900,000 individuals, there must have been very little in place as far as barriers. There was nothing to detect the threat actors in the environment. If a year on from the breach, the affected patients still have not been informed about what data theirs is exposed, I'm guessing here that the hospital or the healthcare system affected also had terrible logging. The reason affected patients haven't been informed is the healthcare system likely still doesn't even know who was all affected, still doesn't even know what data the threat actors stole. Like, come on. You have to do better. You need to be proactive and reactive. You need to have logs in place. You need to be able to do proper incident response so you can inform the victims and so you know what sensitive data was stolen. Man, I said I wasn't awake before, but I'm fired up now. That's just frustrating. I don't know how Jerry does his show like every day. I just get pissed off at the end of every day based on what I see here. All right, let's continue through our stories. We got breach forms back again. Oh no, hacked. All right, let me kick this on.
Breach forums busted again. The administrators for one of the world's largest online marketplaces for stolen data have been arrested. French police report the arrest of 5 suspected operators of breach forums, including well-known threat actors, Shiny Hunters, and Intel Broker. Authorities say the group helped relaunch the dark web marketplace after its original founder was arrested in 2023. The suspects are linked to several major breaches, including attacks on French companies and government agencies, with Intel Broker previously tied to high-profile hacks impacting U.S. and European organizations. Breach Forums V2 went offline in April of this year and has not returned.
All right, this feels like deja vu because it did happen recently. So if you've never heard of breach forums, it is a notorious forum for like sharing not only real cybercrime stuff, but even just pirated courses, pirated junk. Let me just give you a quick word. If you are in the field of cybersecurity or you want to get into the field of cybersecurity, a big part of it is being ethical. Morals matter significantly, especially for those of you who want to be a pen tester. Another name for being a pen tester is an ethical hacker. So if you want to be in the field of cybersecurity and make a lasting career here, it begins with being ethical. Do not be a member or partake in any of these forums like Breach Forum. Not necessarily because you're going to go to prison, right? Unless you're sharing stuff there or leading the forum, the FBI is probably not going to come after you, but for your own personal ethical decisions. Ethics or ethical behavior is determined by the small choices you take on a day-to-day basis. Small choices add up to a life of impact and legacy, or small choices can end up in a prison sentence or having your name really ruined and your reputation ruined when you make a very terrible decision later on. So that's one takeaway I would give you. Make sure in all of your conduct, I'm not just saying this because it's a cool thing to say, but make sure in all of your conduct, you conduct yourself in an ethical manner. And that begins with the small decisions you make every day, including not to participate in forums like Breach Forum or even in Discord servers that share pirated material. I run a Discord server called Hack Smarter, and occasionally we have people come in asking for pirated material because they assume that's an okay and normal thing to ask about. They immediately get banned because here's the thing: you cannot be an ethical hacker without being ethical. If you remove the ethical from ethical hacker, you are just a cyber criminal. All right, so make sure you keep that in mind for your own journey. But what we have here is we just have more arrests on those who are managing breach forums. It looks like breach forums version 2. We have some well-known threat actors such as Intel Broker. But there's nothing super interesting here. I'm sure any of you, if you're here on the Simply Cyber Daily Threat Briefing, you've heard of breach forms, you have an understanding of how it works. But here is how it works a little bit. When it comes to committing ransomware attacks and doing extortion, a lot of the cyber criminals really are just script kiddies. They're not elite hackers. They couldn't even hack their way out of an easy machine on Hack the Box. Instead, they have crypto. Maybe they got into the crypto game early. They probably scam people to build crypto, but they then use likely their stolen crypto to trade, sell, or leak stolen data, as well as sell access to corporate networks. So you have people who have a little more skills who get initial access to a corporate network. Let's say that I get access to a hospital or a bank and I get VPN access. I have stolen VPN creds. Then what I would do if I was a threat actor is I would go on breach forums and other forums and I would say, hey, I'm selling VPN access to an institution that has this many employees and an annual revenue of this much revenue, and I'm selling it for this price. Then one of the ransomware groups is likely going to purchase that initial access because they don't have to do it themselves. They then use that VPN or initial access to get onto the network and then deploy ransomware and then do the extortion and all of that stuff. So there's multiple layers to these cyber criminals and how they operate, kind of their MO. Here's a big thing to keep in mind. Most cyber criminals do not know how to hack stuff. They very much are script kiddies. They're in it for the money and the revenue and the profit. And they quite literally just buy access to things, buy pirated material. Don't be one of those. All right, let's continue on with our stories. Maybe. Here we go.
Thousands of SaaS apps still vulnerable to no-auth. New research shows almost 2 years after its discovery, the no-auth abuse method is still a major risk, with as many as at least 15,000 SaaS apps likely vulnerable due to misconfigurations with Microsoft Entra ID. Despite Microsoft offering guidance, researchers say developers are still misunderstanding or overlooking key implementation steps, leaving apps open to account takeovers and data exfiltration without users ever knowing.
You got to patch it, or in this case, you have to remediate it. They offer remediation advice, but we have this somewhat older vulnerability by no-auth. I won't get into the technical details, but essentially with Entra ID, used to be called Azure AD. Now, one big thing to know about Microsoft, but when it comes to Microsoft, they enjoy changing the names of their products in order to confuse. I think it's not really to confuse. I think they do something for marketing, but they like to change the name of their project. So it used to be Azure AD. So if you recognize that name, it is now Entra ID, but it's Azure's identity and access management system. So there's a misconfiguration. I don't know if I'd call it a vulnerability. It's a misconfiguration that allows you to use a different Entra ID in order to get access, hence the no-auth attack vector here. Now it says it selected 104 SaaS apps from the Microsoft Entra gallery. Essentially, the target of the victim customer is a Microsoft customer with an Entra ID tenant, and the attacker uses a different Entra ID to perform the abuse. The SaaS app only needs to support Entra ID for auth to be susceptible to no auth, and while many apps may have followed advice to close the door detected by DScope, relatively few are even aware that only the Entra ID is necessary to invoke no auth. So that part is tough. I mean, this is where you really need to be proactive in your security funding and doing regular tests on all of the SaaS apps that you are using, whether it's vendor security or your own security. With something like this, because it's so difficult to know if you are affected, we have it right here. It's effectively impossible for a SaaS user to know whether it is a no-auth victim, and there are no mitigation options available. The victim may have its own extensive security controls, but no-auth takes place between SaaS and Entra beyond the view of any local security. So here's the thing with all of this. Is it me or is it chat covering the story? The chat is somewhat covering the story, but you can pull it up on your own. I don't have the fancy stuff that Jerry has. So for me to have chat overlay, the chat will slightly cover the story, but you'll just have to listen in. Anyways, when it comes to an attack like this, the best the best defense is really a good offense. And what I mean by that is I'm a huge advocate for penetration testing and red team engagements. You guys are probably sick of that by now, but that is what I do. My day job is I hack stuff all the time for different companies. And at the end of the pen test engagement, I give them a very professional report saying, hey, you might want to fix this before Russia or Breach Forums does this to you. But a big part of a penetration test is testing these kinds of vulnerabilities. So many of the apps I look into have OAuth, and there's a few different OAuth vulnerabilities you can check for, including this one, and I test for every single one of them during a pen test report. That being said, when it comes to a pen test, there's usually a very limited scope. So if you are a CISO, you might want to keep in mind to open up your scope during a pen test. Don't overly restrict the pen tester because they might miss something like this. You might assume, well, that security should be done by the SaaS provider. And you are correct, but here's the reality. If the SaaS provider has a misconfiguration, it's going to affect your company. So you want to make sure when you're doing security testing, whether it's blue team or red team, you expand the scope. Look at all of the angles that a threat actor could get into your system. Look at all the angles from vendor management. What vendors do you have that are internet exposed that if that vendor was compromised, what access can a threat actor get to your environment? And how can you minimize the damage, not if, but when that happens? Other than that, there's nothing too interesting here besides, yes, it's vulnerable to issues that were exposed in 2023. You got to stay on top of the security. You have to stay on top of these stores. You have to stay on top of all of your own SaaS apps. The more applications you have, the more internet exposed things you have, the larger your attack surface. All right, let's continue. We have some more ransomware information. Let's keep going.
Ransomware hits harder in the UK. It's an award no one wants, but a new report shows that British organizations are far more likely than their global peers to have data encrypted in ransomware attacks. In fact, 70% of UK victims were hit compared to 50% worldwide. According to Sophos, the median ransom demand jumped to 5.4 million last year, and UK firms often pay the full amount or more. However, this may soon change as new regulations like the upcoming Cybersecurity and Resilience Bill aims to ban ransom payments and tighten reporting requirements.
Okay, I mean, this story isn't super interesting. Maybe it would be if I lived in the UK. But UK ransom payments double as victims fall behind global peers. I'm actually still curious about the story. I was trying to read ahead. But 70% of UK victims had data encrypted, well above the global average of 50 and 46. So what's the reason for that? I don't actually know. Is it because there's less safeguards in place overall for UK organizations? I'm curious in chat if you guys, those of you in the UK. Oh, okay, so Roswell, UK, look at that. This is the beauty of having a global community. Over in chat, Roswell, UK, which I'm going to assume lives in the UK, he says UK is about 5 years behind the US in awareness. So that is likely the reason. A lot of UK firms, they may be looking at the US, and the US is finally starting to pick up some of our security, but the UK is behind. So then ransomware groups are targeting to low-hanging bugs. And I mentioned this a few different times. Often when a ransomware group comes after your organization, they're not targeting you personally. Instead, they're scanning. They're looking for low-hanging bugs. Maybe they bought VPN access to your organization. Maybe they found a misconfigured public web app and they use that web app to get initial access, but it really is low-hanging bugs. The more difficult you can make it for the threat actor, the better your security is going to be because you're going to stop them. You frustrate them enough, they're going to choose the next low-hanging bug. So that would make sense from Roswell, UK. They're a little bit behind the US. He says 5 years. I mean, whether it's 1 year to 5 years, that's going to explain a little bit of the story. It also says they paid more. Jeez, I can't talk. 4 days in a row of early morning talking. Sorry for coughing into the microphone on you guys. I'll try not to get you sick in the process. But it says the organizations typically paid 103% of the demand, much higher than the global average. This most likely tied to the large percentage that had data encrypted. So because there's less awareness, it could be that once the ransomware company gets in, there's less protections in place to stop them from encrypting everything. And when everything in your organization is encrypted, the ransomware group has a little more leverage to say, no, bro, you got to pay up or you want getting your data back. And then every moment that data is encrypted, it is not looking good for the organization. It is not looking good for the revenue. So they decide we're just going to pay it. I also noticed this. This bucks the global trend of ransomware victims refusing to pay their extorters. I mean, that would make sense, right? If you don't pay ransomware groups, they're going to stop doing ransomware. But realistically, that's going to be nearly impossible to enforce across the board. When a company chooses between paying a 1 million payment and losing $1 million a day of revenue, well, they're likely just going to choose back channels to pay the ransomware groups. We've seen time and time again, large organizations are focused on revenue. They're not often focused on ethics of ransomware and being the good guy that stands up against the ransomware threat actor. They're just focused on making sure their revenue is back and their shareholders are happy. So you can try to put in laws to ban ransomware payment. They also try to ban alcohol in the US back in the 1900s. It doesn't go well. There's always going to be back channels. So, I mean, I'm curious your guys' thoughts on trying to ban ransomware payments. If people just stop paying ransomware, that would be amazing. But that would be in an ideal world, and an ideal world does not exist. It didn't say this though. It says UK firms recover faster. Do they recover faster because they pay quicker? Oh yeah, okay. I'm not the only one pointing that out. It says it's unclear whether this is linked to the fact that more are paying up. That would be my guess. The only reason they're recovering faster is they're paying faster to get their data decrypted, whereas other organizations might be trying to do their own forensics before paying the ransomware group and doing negotiation. If you're like, yeah, ransomware group, I'll pay you right now. I'll pay you right away. Here's the full amount. Well, of course, your firm's going to recover faster. That's sort of how that works. Okay, I think we're at the mid-roll. Let me make sure. Let me hit the stories.
Thanks to today's episode sponsor.
And we are at the mid-roll. So, hey, real quick, once again, if anyone is here for the first time, make sure you drop hashtag first timer in chat. I would love to give you a proper welcome to the daily cyber threat brief. But this is the mid-roll. Another thank you to each one of our sponsors. They're all here on the screen. We have Barricade Cyber Solutions, Threat Locker, Delete Me, Antisyphon Training, and Flare Academy. You heard all about them in the beginning of the stream, but each one of them is amazing. So, hey, before you fall prey to ransomware, or maybe you are dealing with an incident right now, reach out to Barricade Cyber Solutions. They are an amazing organization with an amazing team that will come alongside of you so that you can make it through and recover. Also, Threat Locker, another amazing organization to stop threats before they hit your organization. We have Delete Me. All of your personal information is on the web being traded back and forth by data brokers. If you Google your name and you find your address, it's probably not a good thing, but Delete Me helps scrub all your personal data off of the web. We have Antisyphon Training in their academy. Pay what you can training, super high quality, coming from the team over at Antisyphon. Make sure you check them out. And Flare Academy. More training, more threat hunting detection type stuff. Once again, all amazing supporters. If you can do us a favor, links are in the description below. Click each one of those links. Check out these sponsors of Simply Cyber Daily Threat Brief. Show them some love. Show them a thank you for making this show possible every single weekday. But it is Wednesday. TJ Williams says, whoa, I can hear the drums. Yes, you have to picture the drums. If you can picture the drums, the la-la-las, you have to picture those sound effects. I can't do them for you. But not only do we have a thank you to our sponsors, today is What's Your Meme Thursday with Dan Reardon, also known as the Haircut Fish. Now, for those of you who are new, Dan Reardon creates a meme for us every single Thursday. That is a custom meme. It's not him just going to Reddit and finding a meme. It is specific for the Simply Cyber community. So this is What's Your Meme Thursday, brought to you by Dan Reardon, also known as the haircut fish. And today's meme, we have a GIF. Now, I glanced at it, but I haven't looked at it fully, although it might be playing. Here we go. We have Auger, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Oh, man, we got to wait for it to start over, maybe. So this is Jerry all week. Let me zoom in. He's skipping. Meanwhile, at his residence, that actually does look like Jerry, too, a little bit. Amazing. He gets to sleep in. I'm here freaking waking up at 6:30 a.m. hanging out with you guys, but amazing meme. I'm going to have to do some of this, guys. Like, this week has been crazy. Not only have I been streaming every morning, I've been creating my hands-on fishing course every night. I finally finished it last night, at least all the videos, but this is going to be me, although I still have to work my full-time job, so I can't just sleep in, but oh, this is an amazing meme. I love it. We have Jerry Auger's Day Off. That's the only thing that we should have changed in the top corner. Jerry Auger's Day Off. Pretty soon it's going to be Tyler's freaking day off for a while, but I love it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Haircut Fish. You are awesome. Hey, do want to also let you guys know, dang, that is high quality. Jerry Auger's Day Off. Yeah, some good love in chat. Do want to let you guys know we have jaw jacking at the end. So if you have questions about incident response, questions about careers, feel free to ask them. Eric Taylor, the founder and CEO of Barricade Cyber, will be joining us at the top of the hour for jaw jacking. Guys, my stupid cat. You guys have seen me complain about my cat many times on this stream because he tries to jump on my lap. He causes mayhem and destruction. I somehow just had a cat hair in my mouth. If you ever think to yourself, I saw a cat picture on the internet. Maybe I should get a cat. You shouldn't. You shouldn't get a cat. Trust me. Take my word for it. Just say you're allergic to them. All right? That's all you have to say. Say, I'm allergic to cats. It will save you the time. It will save you the pain. It will save you the hair everywhere. Just take my word for it. You just got your money's worth with that little piece of advice. Okay. Let's go ahead and dive into this story. Once we get through their Threat Locker.
Sponsor, Threat Locker. Threat Locker is a global leader in zero trust endpoint security, offering cybersecurity controls to protect businesses from zero-day attacks and ransomware. Threat Locker operates with a default deny approach to reduce the attack surface and mitigate potential cyber vulnerabilities. To learn more and start your free trial, visit threatlocker.com/CISO. That's THREATLOCKER.com/CISO. Third-party and ransomware attacks hit U.S. healthcare again. Two U.S. healthcare organizations have disclosed data breaches impacting over 100,000 individuals each. I'll do the math for you. That's over 200,000 people overall impacted. Mainline Health Systems confirmed its network was breached in April of 2024, with the Inc. ransomware group later leaking stolen files. The attack affected more than 101,000 patients across its 30-plus locations in Arkansas. Meanwhile, nearly 120,000 people tied to select medical holdings was impacted through a third-party breach at former debt collector Nationwide Recovery Services.
Come on. Guys, how do we fix this? I have no idea. I mean, I feel like a broken record at this point. We've seen this over and over again just this week alone. You have healthcare systems getting breached. You have each one affects more than 100,000 individuals, 200,000 individuals. But there's a few things in this story that drive me crazy. First, we don't know how the threat actor got in, but I can tell you how they got in. It was probably something really simple. You would be surprised how insecure massive organizations and massive healthcare systems really are. It is not that hard to get into their system. So Come on, step your game up. It says the company only recently determined what? A network breach was detected in April of 2024. It is now June of 2025. However, the company only recently determined that files containing sensitive personal info were stolen at the time. How? How do you not know this? How do you recently determine this? You have to do better. I mean, gosh, at this point in time, if you are an organization that is storing patient information in clear text, if you are an organization that doesn't have logging in place to know, like, hey, yeah, we had someone break in a year ago. We don't know what they stole. We just found out it was personal information. Are you joking me? This is like if I'm chilling at my house, I leave all my doors unlocked. All right. And I put a sign on the door saying, yeah, the door's unlocked right here. I just put that on my front door. My door is unlocked permanently because I have CVEs. I have things I don't patch and it's obvious. So on my front door, I put a freaking sign that says doors unlocked. And then a threat actor, a thief, walks into my house and comes down, goes into my safe and steals my social security card and my family's social security cards and steals money from me and steals my bank account information. And then they just steal some other stuff. They steal my microphone from in front of me. Then they walk out the house and they leave. And then a year later, I'm like, oh, shoot, someone broke into my house. Where's my mic at? Where's my social security card? Where's my bank information? Like, come on, you have to do better. I recognize that a healthcare provider is a little bit larger than my personal house, but you still need to have systems in place where things are encrypted, things are secure. Don't have your network more vulnerable than a try-hack me machine. Make sure that you have login in place. So when you are breached in April of 2024, you can say with facts, this is what was stolen. How do you get in your safe, or is that unlocked? Exactly. Yeah. So safe is unlocked. Front door is unlocked. Sign is on both of them saying, hey, come on in. Wow. That's crazy. See if there's anything else interesting here. The Inc. ransomware group took credit for the attack on mainline health systems and leaked some of the stolen files. How did they determine that files were taken? I'm guessing the files were leaked. Like the threat actor knows their environment better than they do. Insane. Guys, we really need to step up penalties, I think, on health providers, critical infrastructure, all businesses that if you suffer a breach and you can't even say this is what was breached, penalty should go up significantly. You should have to pay out every single victim. Forget the ransomware payment. All 200,000 people who suffered as a result of your negligence, you should be sending them money, in my opinion. Okay. Let's continue. A few more stories. I got 15 minutes. I think I'm doing good on time. Let's keep going.
Ransomware pack grows. Speaking of ransomware, a new group calling itself Direwolf is taking a bite out of the tech and manufacturing sectors. Researchers have already linked the group to at least 16 attacks using double extortion tactics and custom-built encryptors tailored to each victim. Direwolf isn't staying quiet either. 5 of the 16 victims listed on its data leak site are now facing public data exposure by the end of the month for, quote, refusing to pay up.
Okay, it's a short story, but I feel like there's a lot in this. Direwolf. Almost as cool as Flaming Donkey, but not quite. My favorite thing is that headline. They come out snarling. They bite technology and manufacturing. I don't know if GPT made this headline for them, but interesting headline. Here's the threat actor. This is what they look like. They're chilling in their basement. They got their full wolf outfit on, and they're staring right now at your data, getting ready to take a bite out of that technology. But a newly discovered ransomware group dubbed Direwolf. So here's what's interesting about this. We have a double extortion tactic. What that means is saying, hey, to the company, you need to pay us, and also saying to the victims, we stole your private information. You need to pay us if you don't want it leaked. So double extortion, not only the company, but also the individual victims. At least I'm pretty sure That's what they mean by that. It says it deploys custom encryptors tailored to specific victims. And so this threat organization, these are probably going to be more than script kiddies. It seems like they know what they're doing, unfortunately, in a bad way. Says the group's victims have spanned 11 countries, with U.S. and Thailand reporting the highest number of attacks, followed by Thailand. Which, what? With U.S. and Thailand reporting the highest number of attacks, followed by, Taiwan. Okay, never mind. That's Taiwan, not Thailand. There was this. So here's the crazy part. During the investigation, we observed that the threat actors initially published sample data in a list of exfiltrated files, then give the victims around 1 month to pay before releasing all the stolen data. The ransomware demand for one of the victims was approximately $500,000. Jumping through here, see if there's anything else that's super interesting to me. The binary is written in Go, so they're doing it through Go. Checks that the system has already been encrypted, as well as the presence of the mutex direwall af mutex to ensure only a single instance. So you can add that. They'll think that they've already been encrypted. But outside of that, nothing super new about this threat actor. How to protect against it. Yeah, don't get hacked. Patch your stuff. Do pen tests. Be proactive. Do threat hunting. I give you a long list of things. So nothing super interesting about this story besides the double extortion methods, the custom encryptors, and the headline that they're coming out snarling and they bite technology. I can just picture them in their basement taking a bite out of stuff. But okay, let's continue our story. We have 2 more to work through.
New China Orb network infects devices. A newly uncovered China-linked operational relay box, or Orb network, known as lapdogs, is quietly expanding across the U.S. and East Asia, already infecting over 1,000 devices. That's according to Security Scorecard. The highly targeted network is made up of compromised routers, IoT devices, and servers, primarily ruckus wireless access points, and is being used to support multiple intrusion campaigns while evading detection. Unlike traditional botnets, Orbs, like lapdogs, offer stealthier, long-term infrastructure for espionage, making it harder to detect and defend against these threats.
Okay, interesting. First, I was thinking, like, what's the difference between this and a botnet? But I think I understand it. So we have an operational relay box network. Big word, big phrase. You can imagine this sort of like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, sort of like VPNs that you have access to as a threat actor. So then you can connect to something in your Orb network, your operational relay box, and you can launch attacks from there. So we have compromised routers mainly. This is primarily composed of routers designed for smaller home offices, but also includes infected IoT devices, virtual servers, and IP cameras. Whoops, I didn't mean to scroll up like that. But that's what they're doing. They're using these as launch points to attack other organizations, I believe. They kind of glance through here. 1/3 of the infections are located in the US. Okay, post-infection activity is unclear. Some orbs used by China Nexus actors are shared infrastructure and can host and facilitate more than one intrusion set at once. So this is your Orb as a service. This makes questions regarding APT motivations, TTPs, and post-infection activities much harder to answer. This ultimately demonstrates how harmful and dangerous orbs are as an emerging threat from the China Nexus APT landscape. So they do function. Why does it keep scrolling? Stop that. They do function similar to, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my mind. Similar to a VPN. One of the reasons VPNs are secure for like bug bounty or threat research is there's multiple people sharing the same IP. So it's hard to be tracked down when you're on a VPN, at least one that doesn't like accept logs and everything, because everybody has the same IP who are on that VPN node. Well, that seems to be the same with an Orb network. It's hard to track down what threat actors are performing what because they all have the same IP or the same network devices they are coming from, almost like a VPN as a service via Orb networks is what it sounds like to me. Other than that, I don't know if there's too much to be aware of in the story besides don't become part of an Orb network. The way you stop being part of the Orb network is don't use free VPNs or free proxies. I actually get YouTube requests to do like YouTube sponsored videos. Just had one recently, and this organization reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we want you to make a sponsored video for us." And they share with me a little bit about their offer model. And they told me one of the things they offer is residential proxies. And for payment for the video, they could offer me crypto or a certain amount of gigabytes of data of access to residential proxies throughout the US. And I responded to the email saying, hold up. Well, first I looked at their thing. One of the big things they do is they offer free residential proxies that you can use if you download their client. And I responded to the email saying, hold up, guys. I'm pretty sure your free residential proxy is just you adding more devices to your residential proxy, because when it is free, it means that the consumer is the product. Can you tell me a little more about how your residential proxies work? And then they responded to me saying, well, I'm just an employee at the organization. I don't know how the residential proxies work, but you can contact our support team. And their support team was a full Russian email address. So I was like, I'm not going to become the marketing voice for your Russian botnet using US residential proxies. I don't know if that's how orbs are founded the same way, but just a warning. Do not use free proxies for the most part, unless it's a very reputable company, and do not download a residential proxy. Residential proxies are proxies that use, well, what it sounds like, residential IP addresses, usually throughout the US, to bypass bot detections and blocks. Well, most residential proxies are set up illegally. You download a client on your phone or you download a client on your computer, and yes, they'll give you access to the residential proxies. But while you're doing it, your computer also becomes a residential proxy for people to route network traffic through. So always be careful of that so you don't end up in a botnet or in an orb network or whatever this is. Okay, we have one more story. I have one more meme I need to show you as well from the haircut fish, but I forgot to download that one. So I'll have to switch some things around, but I wanted to show you the final meme, and then we'll turn it over to jaw jacking. But let's go ahead and knock out this final story. Let's go ahead and refresh the podcast because it doesn't want to play.
Cybercrime outpaces African law enforcement. Cybercrime is surging across Africa, with some countries reporting a 30-fold increase in online scam detections, and cybercrime accounting for a third of all reported crimes, according to Interpol's 2025 Africa Cyber Threat Assessment Report. Egypt, South Africa, and Zambia were among the hardest hit, facing spikes in ransomware and phishing attacks, while law enforcement in 9 out of 10 African nations lack the tools or training to respond.
So I think there's an opportunity here, not an opportunity to make money, but an opportunity to give back. I have no idea what this would look like, but we have these economies that are slowly growing. And there's a lot of scams that come from these nations, but like a lot of the scamming that you may see online when it comes from these developing countries, it's more of an opportunity for someone who sees no other option to make money. So I'm not justifying their behavior, but to look at it realistically, many of them have no other option to try to make money, and they view the Western world as being just a bunch of super wealthy people who have money to spare anyways. So that's where some of the scams come from. But now you have these African nations who they themselves are suffering significantly from cybercrime. And a big part of that is they don't have the law enforcement to go after it. They don't have the cybersecurity training to go after it. They're in a tough spot. They have a developing economy right now. There's cyber attacks being launched from the country. There's legit organization in the country suffering from cyber attacks. One amazing way that people could give back. And once again, I have no idea logistically if this is even possible, but some type of training for people in these nations that is actually affordable for them. Like a try hack me sub, hack the box sub, SANS training, OffSec. That's not going to be affordable. That level of training is not going to be helpful. So I don't know what mentorship looks like. I don't know what training looks like. I don't know logistically how that would even be possible. But this is where we're a global economy. We're a global community. And maybe it starts small. It's helping other people in a developing country get access to free training. So, for example, for my courses in the academy, in Simply Cyber Academy, I've given away, $5,000 or $6,000 worth of scholarships, many of them to people in these developing countries. Because I told them, like, look, $34 in the US is a very little amount of money, but I know for you it's massive. And you have all these other things you're worrying about. Like, here's a coupon, take the course for free. I just ask you use the training to help further yourself. So it could be, maybe I don't need to think logistically, how do I solve the big issue? But how can you help the next person? And as each one of us helps the next person, we might see some good stuff happening. But in addition to that, the other issue is the law enforcement shortage. And I think that's the main part of the story. If we scroll up, it says at the same time, 9 in 10 African countries are lacking the necessary law enforcement and prosecutorial skills to pursue cyber criminals. So that's the other part. Cyber crime usually doesn't pay in the long term. You will get arrested, you will get caught, but in this case, there's no police to arrest you. There's no police to go after you. I'm looking over at chat. Motaz said, I am from Egypt and I got my training here in Antisyphon. Amazing that those organizations are helping. Colin says, I am from Africa. I can tell you we are highly skilled, but the system itself doesn't flourish on us. It invests in poor governance. Motaz said, by the way, the cybersecurity field is one of the fastest growing fields here, and I've been helping out a lot. Amazing. And that's what I love about this global community. Right now, I'm looking at the numbers. We have over 300 people watching live on stream all over the world, including people in the actual countries we're mentioning in this story. So that is able to give us a little more additional context about what is going on. So thank you for the additional context. I'm so glad to hear things like Simply Cyber Academy and Antisyphon training is helping at least skill people up. And hopefully we begin to see a decrease in the cyber crime and an increase in cybersecurity training, awareness, and knowledge in these developing countries. Now, we are at the end of the show, but before we close out, I need to go ahead and find this closing meme that Haircut Fish sent me. Let me get this pulled up real quick because I do. Oh, can I download it though? How can I download this meme from Discord? Can I download? Whoops, I didn't mean to heart it. Give me a second. If I can't, oh, I can save it. All right, give me just a second, guys. I want to grab this amazing meme to close out with. If I can figure out the right file. Did it download? All right, I'm just going to show it from Discord. Give me just a moment. Oh, I can't zoom in. All right, I'm making sure me and Haircut Fish haven't said anything sensitive in our chat. All right, we haven't. Here you guys go. Then I'm going to turn it over to Eric Taylor for jaw jacking. But here's our final meme. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go. Guys, this is making me really want to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's such an amazing, amazing movie. I'm going to have to watch it this weekend. That'll be my plan. But I'll even leave it up. Thank you so much for all of you for being part of the daily cyber threat briefing. Once again, my name is Tyler Ramsby. I was your host for today. You can see my YouTube link in the scrolling lower thirds. If you don't follow me on YouTube, you should. I would very much appreciate it. I'm going to throw up the jaw-jacking intro, and then I'll turn it over to Eric Taylor for the jaw-jacking fun and shenanigans.
Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. As you can tell, I am remote. And because we know we have some O sensors out there, I drew the shade. Honestly, I didn't. The shade broke. So, if y'all can, it looks like my audio is working, but can y'all just give me a thumbs up, say audio working real quick for me? I've been having all kinds of crazy technical issues on my laptop this morning. So just want to check that, please. I know there's a delay. Audio good. Background music is attached. Okay, cool. Awesome. I don't like to, but yes. So, this is going to get really, really weird and personal. But for those plus size people, I'll share a tip with you guys that I learned in the Marine Corps. And I think I know the Air Force has it. I'm pretty sure the Army and the Navy does as well. But you know how Marines keep their shirts so damn tight? It's called shirt stays. It's literally clips that clip on the bottom of your shirt and pull them down. When I was in the Marine Corps, it was just a long band that tied to your socks. But these days I just wear the ones that go around, so it always stays nice. Because when you're fat, like I am, you move around, your shirt tends to untuck in the sides, and it's so annoying. So annoying. But seriously, before we get into the questions and everything like that, I've said it before, and I want to make sure I reiterate this, that if you guys and gals are not following Tyler on all the stuff he does, you're missing out. You truly are. And this is not, me bolstering him up because he's a guest host or anything like that. No, it's not suspenders. Suspenders goes over your shoulders. In fact, I'll get up and I'll get my other pick because I carry 2 pairs, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm undoing my pants and showing. Nobody wants to see that crap. But anyway, those who don't know and haven't followed Tyler for a while, I don't think he is anymore, but he was a preacher. I don't know what denomination he preached or anything like that, but to be a preacher, you have to have the heart of a teacher. You're spreading, and this is going to get biblical, so just listen through this, but I'll circle it around. But to teach the gospel, you have to be a teacher. And when you're in cybersecurity and you're trying to learn, that's who you want to follow. People who have the heart of a teacher. So go follow Tyler and other people like him and learn from those people. Seriously. It wasn't get biblical, but I'm trying to lay the groundwork for you. Hopefully you pick it up. So I'm going to stand up and I'm going to talk about my hotel room for a second. I'm not going to disclose what it is until next week when I'm back home. But let me go to those shirt ties. Hold on. Or shirt stays, I should say. So they come in all sorts of different things, right? But they're shirt stays. So you can see right there. Yeah, they clip onto your shirt. They go around your thigh. And it helps keep them down, right? So, my ex used to use that from EaseBite. Was your ex in the military or just learned it potentially? Because most, I will say most people is, unless you were in the military, don't even know these freaking things exist. I don't know if Tyler has a LinkedIn. Let me switch over to that. I know he is heavy on, let's see, Tyler Ransby. Yep, he does have a LinkedIn. Give me 1 second. I am copying it. Mods have probably already dropped it, but there is Tyler's LinkedIn. Go follow him over there. And I'm not even connected with, what the Sam Tarnation? Hold on. I need to fix this right now. I'm send Tyler a connection request right now. All right. All right. Oh, shirt stays. Luke probably knows what. Yeah, Luke, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, Brent. Oh, yeah. So Luke. Oh, yes. So when your shirt stays, again, when in the Marine Corps, I had the ones that went from the shirt all the way to your socks, right? And it would, when you'd sit down, just think about it. You got a long elastic, and now you have a knee that's at a 45 or 90 degree. So it would pull to the back of your pants that you're on. That made things feel uncomfortable the first year. It took me a long time to get used to that one. But you would wear out your socks. And if those things slipped off, and they would just, oh, yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. You felt that one for a while. Yeah, got a fresh haircut. It was getting way, as I go back to Tuesday, it was getting way too long, way too curly. I didn't like it. But I had to do that because my normal barber had an injury. It was in one of the neighboring communities and stuff like that. And him and his male significant, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're married. Yeah, I know they're married, but I meant him and his husband, I guess. I don't know. I'm not very politically correct, but whatever. They were riding around on scooters or something like that. I think it was the electric ones. Like after you get like to a certain like 2 or 3 miles or whatever, then you can kick in the electric thing or whatever. But apparently something happened and he stumbled and he tore his shoulder up pretty bad. So he was out for a little bit. So the barber shop that I would go to, I had to use an interim person. And now this is getting way, way too personal. But I faded like 1, 2, 3. But the last person who did it just did a 1 all the way up. So it was literally like I was back in the Marine Corps with a high and tight. It gave me some nostalgia and some other stuff, but I definitely had to let it grow out some. And my barber was like, man, I've never seen your hair this long. It is so curly. And I'm like, yeah, it gets curly. And Mrs. Barricade is always messing with me, saying, you know, you should let it grow out. You should let it grow out. Let's see how that curly hair does when it grows out. And I'm like, look, I'm pushing 50, right? I let that thing freaking grow out, and my hair is going to be like, we don't know what's going on. We're just going to start falling out or something, right? It's one of those things like, if it works, don't mess with it type of thing. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to mess with it. You know, I don't want to, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of going bald, but I wouldn't want it. So, do you still use Tiger Balm? No, Trey, I don't. I don't use Tiger Balm. I guess I should state that Tiger Balm was a, if I'm remembering correctly, that was an ointment for your joints, I believe. It's been so long, but correct me if I'm wrong. And I say Mrs. Barricade, not Mrs. Taylor, because we do have a running joke that she is the HR department of Barricade. So, I do see some questions coming in. I'll get to those in a moment. But where was I at? Oh yeah, so I don't know what I was talking about anymore. Anyway, with a curly afro, it would be fun to see. I don't know if it would be. Space Tacos. I don't know. I don't know. Like, for the longest time, I couldn't. I mean, I could grow a beard, like it would grow, right? But my skin is so sensitive, like just to get it to this long, especially when I was younger, it would itch all the time. So only in the past, it took about 4 or 5 years after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was able to get a beard to grow without itching. But to talk about what I forget what it's called in the Marine Corps. I'll have to ask some of my Marine Corps buddies, but we have a blue gel or blue liquid. It's aqua velva and rubbing alcohol. And we mix it 1-to-1. And you put it in a jar and you put a bunch of cotton balls in it. And I'm not sure if the other branches have it or not, but we use it a lot in boot camp and it's just kind of stayed with me. And you just rub it on your face and it clears. It dries your skin out like nothing else. But it would clear up all your facial elements. All right, so the hotel that I'm at while I'm getting questions, again, I won't say which one it is, but it's a very European style. It's the concrete, or that's not even concrete. It's like, yeah, that's OSB board, just painted. Because there's a seam right there, and there's some nails. I don't know. It's very small. Like, got the bed here. Like, it doesn't even have a table for me to set up. Like, you literally have hooks here. You don't even have a closet. Like, hold on. This is going to get really, really stupid, so bear with me a second. But this is the freaking table. It's foldable. It's even got a stupid hook. See, when you get done with the table, you put it back up on the hook, and it's a tripod shit. Anyway. Yeah, it's like you don't have this is such European, short of, sleeping with strangers, literally like some of the European hotels do. You have like a community hall, ironing board and things like that, right? So you go down the hall and you're in the hallway ironing. People can walk by, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, look for the branding. Let's go. I was very careful to make sure. I'm happy to share once I'm back home. I have no problems talking about things like that when I've successfully returned to where I'm, back where I want to be. So, but while I'm communicating, so the problem, I do want to say this, and I got to get with Kimberly and the rest of the team. Like I mentioned a minute ago, and sorry, I will get to your questions in a moment. We may have to delay the webinar for today, and it's not for technical. I just got to find a place to set up. The way that the webinar is, so we're going to be showcasing, and I think it's down in the links for the webinar, but we're going to be talking about token sessions and everything like that. The webinar is ready to go, but I don't have the ability to set up 2 laptops. Like literally, so we do Fortify 365, right, which secures Microsoft ecosystem. And this is one of the laptops I use in that demo and what we're going to do, push it out. But I'm not going to be able to set this up and be able to handle it because this table, you've seen it, it's not big enough for 2 laptops. So I may have to go see if I can steal another laptop or something. We may have to unfortunately push it out to when I can get to another location. And it really sucks too. It seems like here lately, every time I try to do a webinar, something's got to come up and be stupid. Anyway, let's get to the questions. But stay tuned. If we have to, we'll get communications out. Let's see. Do you know? Did you know it is Meta CTF Flash CTF today? Prizes to be won, including Okay, there you go. So if you want to be part of the Meta CTF, go to Simply Cyber scoreboard and go check that out. I was unaware of that, so thank you so much for sharing. I heard you have a webinar on. Kimberly, you know I got a webinar. You're the freaking marketing person. You're the director of marketing, goofhead. Yeah, let me. Give me a sec. Let me try to find it. Let me see if I can log into it real quick and get that link. I believe if we have to reschedule, I'm going to be talking to the hotel. There is a strong possibility that there is a meeting room available for me. Oh, where the hell's my phone? There it is. And if there is, then we're good to go, right? We'll have no problems. And the last, the front desk. Well, I shouldn't even say front. So, like when you check into this hotel, you check in at the bar. It is. This thing is so European, folks. It really, really is. No, that's my meetings. Here we are. Hear me say, I had to log into Zoom to get the link. All right. And I believe Zoom sends out a notification if something gets rescheduled. If not, we'll send it out through. I'll have Kimberly pull the latest attendees or register people and send out a notification because we started integrating HubSpot for some communication efforts. So one way or another, we'll get the word out if we need a reschedule. I'm half afraid we're going to have to. I really, really am. All right, let me try to get caught up here. Where are some learn languages online? Where can someone learn languages online for free? Like something. You're on the platform, Gail. YouTube. All day long. I'm not trying to beat you up, Gail, but you're literally on the platform. Just start searching, good friend. What is the best way to put home lab building and rule development on a resume? Get your continuing education section. Like, what are you doing for classes and stuff like that? I think your home lab and all that should be in that section. Moving to the second interview for a company as a risk analysis. Congratulations. How do I prepare for the interview with the senior director over risk management at a bank? Vodka? The one thing, in all seriousness though, the one thing, no, let's say two things. One, always just be yourself. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and just be yourself. The other thing I always tell people, not just in an interview, but just in life in general, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Use that analogy when engaging with people. Listen twice as much as you speak. Whether it's letting them talk, typically let them talk about themselves, and the company and what they expect and what does success look like for this role. How, if I was, you know, if you were to hire me today, you know, what does success in your mind look like in 90 days? That's a really good question. It gets people thinking, and it's kind of where the human intelligence when I learned in the Marine Corps really comes in. You're making the person visualize you being in that position. Definitely don't say it to your wife. What should I not say to my wife? I say all kinds of rude and inappropriate stuff to my wife, unfortunately. But that's because she tunes me out so much. I gotta say really obnoxious things just to get her attention. Question from Random X: do you know of an ISO or other good starting points to build out a retro gaming computer? I don't. I would say either get into the Simply Cyber Discord and ask around. If nobody in Simply Cyber does, I know somebody or multiple people in Antisyphon does. The only reason I know is because they've got every time you go to Wild Wild Hacker Fest, they have all those retro games. So, and I've never looked into them deeply to find out. If it's like a Raspberry Pi with an emulator or anything like that, but I know they've got them, right? So, just 1 second. I just responded to a client real quick. Even though they pinged Justin, but that looks like that's all of the questions. Yeah, Daniel Lowry should know. I mean, Zach probably does. Like I said, a lot of those people over at Black Hills should definitely know that, right? What are your top 3 cyber books? That's a good question. Trey, let me think about that one. I got books that I like to listen to, but cyber related. Most of my books that I deal with is very technical, like Windows memory analysis and stuff like that. It's not like a novel or anything like that. I'll have to think about one. I'll make note of that, Trey, and see if we can figure that one out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like most the questions are all the questions have been answered. People are dropping off like flies. So we will wrap this up. But I will not be on the panel tomorrow. I've got other events to take care of, unfortunately. But when y'all come in tomorrow, show Tyler some love. Tell him thank you for having a heart of a teacher. And seriously, go follow him. Y'all stay curious, my friends.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go.
Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. we're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply.
All right, since we had a couple last minute questions coming in, let's keep going for a minute. Let's keep going. Let's answer these two questions real quick, and we'll go back and replay the proper outro. Don't want to just be rude to Jerry. Are there any forensic focused OS distros you've used? No, literally, we just use Windows. I use Windows OS, and we have WSL for anything like that I need to run Linux-based commands on. But I've talked about it before. I'm a major PowerShell junkie, so there's always something in PowerShell. The Cyber Lorian, what is your go-to book to learn memory analysis? I literally have the book on my desk, and I can't remember. It's literally a black book, and it's. Let me see if I can get it on my Amazon account because I know I ordered it from there, or just search it up real quick. Let me see. Just bear with me 1 second. I know I do have something I got to get to real quick. Yep, The Art of Memory Forensics. There it is. I don't need all this crap in this link. Okay, cool. There we go. Boom. Let me copy this. Paste it into chat. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. See if that may be of interest to you. I'll make sure to mention it because I know more and more people dropped off. But anyway, thanks. Y'all have a good day. Stay curious, my friends, and we'll do this outro one more time.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. we're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.